Alright, so I'm going to be starting off this arena run, and the first question I have for you today is, well, first off, how do you properly pronounce your PSN name? And if you'd like, if you want to share your real name first, or, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay, so my PSN name's obviously BlackManChima. So a lot of people say like Chima, or because obviously like China, and I understand that because your first mentality is China, and then you just add the M, right? So you're not gonna think of Chima unless you're familiar with the name, or that's just how you think in mentality of pronunciation. So I never get angry when people say Chima for the first time because obviously, if that was me and I didn't know how to say this name, I would probably say Chima. I wouldn't say Chima. So it's just it's BlackManChima. But if you actually know me, just call me Chima because I don't mind when people call me BlackManChima when they first meet me, but I hate being called BlackManChima when you actually know me. I'd just rather you just be called Chima. I know my PSN is BlackManChima, and obviously I made that myself. But if you know me and you know how to say my name, just call me by my name. I don't go around calling you, oh, hey, what's up, white? What's up, Mexican? Like, I don't call you that, do I? I'll call you by your name because just because that's what your name is.
So, no, totally.
And what was the other question? I forgot the other question. I was ranting on so much.
Well, and then sometimes people use their real name within their screen name, so I was just wondering if you wanted to share what your real name was, or if your screen name was related to that in some way, like, or how.
Yeah, so I won't share my real name, but my my name Chima is part of my real name. Chima is my nickname.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so a lot of people are like, where does Chima come from? And I'm like, yeah, Chima's part of my real name. It's part of my real name. Yeah, I'll just say that. It's just part of my real name. That's all I'm going to say, because I like saying my real name, until I become much more developed in Twitch.
No, totally. There's a reason I'm not streaming with my face as well, because anonymity is nice. This is just a fun hobby for me right now. And if I ever have to go back into the corporate lifestyle, I don't want to have any videos popping up of any dumb crap like that, you know?
No, if I become or we become big in Hands of God streaming, then I'll start putting up my names and face camming and everything like that. Because that'll be fine. I don't mind that because Spartan on Curve, wow, that's so strong.
So the next question I wanted to ask was, obviously you have an accent. It's a pretty awesome accent. And just want to ask where you're from and what was your experience growing up there as a gamer in that area?
Oh, so I'm from the United Kingdom, obviously. And I'm from like Essex, which is just like southeast of London. Like outside of London, obviously. And growing up as a gamer, I would say it was fun in the aspect because I loved to my parents. I gamed war too much when I was young, just because I found it. Oh god, that's very unlucky. But I just found it very fun as gaming. Like I thought it helped me as well. Like obviously I like to play football, but there was times I didn't always want to play sports, and gaming would help me because it would get my brain thinking. Because obviously, since I was young, I wasn't really good at English, and one way that would get my mind thinking or like processing stuff would be just playing games, because I've always struggled with thinking process and reading. So if I've always struggled with that, then it was just better to, in my opinion, play games. Because games, to me, in a way, especially for other people, just helps you uh, keep your brain thinking, but without having to read or anything, because you're still trying to think of what the outplay is or what's the best way to do something.
Cool. And when you say games, do you mean that, are you talking about purely video games? Did you have any background in playing card games? Obviously, a game like Hand of the Gods probably brings both in.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. No, Hand of the Gods, I like card games. I never played. I used to collect Pokemon cards, but I never played the Pokemon card. I actually never played the actual card game Pokemon. I didn't collect Yu-Gi-Oh, so I wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh, I was more of Pokemon. I never actually played card games until I was a bit older. Like when I was in like starting uni, I played Magic for a bit. Yeah, I played Magic for a bit, and that's what got me into the love of card games. And then obviously I knew Hot G was out already, like, but it was on PC obviously, and I really played Smite, and I've always loved mythology since I was young. That's one of the few things I would read, mythology. And when I heard this game was coming to console, I was just like, yeah, I'll just wait. I'll wait eventually. And then when it did come out on console, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely just buying this game. No, I'm not buying, I'm playing this game. I'm putting money onto this game. I'm going to be committed onto this game. And also, I've always wanted to go pro in gaming. I've said this, like, this is one of my dream jobs, pro gamer, no matter what game it is, just as long as it's a game that I'll love. And what better way to pro game than, what better way to pro game than play Hand of the Gods, a game that doesn't really require like the best setup in the world, like the best graphics. You just require the skill.
And that's what drew me to this game too. I really enjoy streaming it. I enjoy playing it. It doesn't have the biggest audience necessarily, but who cares? If you like playing the game, that's what you should be streaming, you know? It's a good strategy.
And I feel like this game has potential. Like, I feel like Hi-Rez are going to make this, because a lot of people were worried about this future of this game, because even especially pros, and I think this game will keep going. The fact that I feel like just this game alone has, as I said, too much, in my opinion, too much potential. It's a card game that's unique compared to other games, because like Hearthstone and Shadowverse and Duelist, because it has the factor of, as you can see on the board, having to move stuff around to do damage. So that's why I like this game. It has such a big factor.
Did you play Duelist by chance? Which is pretty similar to this, but to be honest, you had to pay like $400 every couple months to keep up, man.
No, I never played Duelist. I've just heard of Duelist. I've never even seen the game. I just know it's a card game.
It's nowhere as fun as this, because as you had said, part of the thing that drew me to this game as well was the mythology setting, and it's really fun seeing the backstory of all these cultures, and I didn't think that was at all conveyed in Duelist. So I want to go on to, you said that you are also streaming. Just want to get out there, your stream is the same as your PSN name, correct? Which is listed in the title?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's BlackManChima. It's just simple, because I'm not really that person to like. I was going to create my originally create my Twitch name to be just my actual name, so like my name, my Chima, and then my last name as an underscore in between. But I was just like, oh, I'll just call it BlackManChima. If I ever become big as a Twitch streamer, then everyone will know my real name, and I don't care then, because also I'm a Twitch streamer.
So, in saying that, obviously we've all went through the same process of getting into a game and checking out who's out there on YouTube and Twitch already before we get into it. Who are some of your favorite streamers or tournament players that you follow?
So I've got the first person I actually watched to this day, I'm not sure if he's watching this stream. I actually thank him. Was Mortifier Crow. This person was just. It wasn't even because of his the way. It wasn't even his gameplay or anything like special. It was just because he was a nice person. Because I watch him because he was the reason why I actually got into HotG. He helped me, tell me what decks were, what cards did, item effects. Like he literally started me off in this game, and then like to get me a foothold into the game. And then another streamer that I absolutely love is Oldmeister, and that's because of the way he is. Just because he's funny, always jump happy, and then because he had more knowledge of the game and he plays a more competitive level. That's where I got my understanding of like spell war to like a peak. Like to the extent that I can't really do a misplay on spell NuWa now, unless I'm really being stupid.
No, that's really cool, man.
But yeah, then obviously, and then he also told me about how to get all the free cards as well. So that was quite a luxury. But yeah, but I'd say how I got into HotG, I'd say in terms of how fast my knowledge got, or how quick I gained knowledge of this game.
Oh, that's really cool, man. And you obviously have a favorite of the Chinese. Can you explain why they attracted you to them, or what, drew them to you?
Yeah, I obviously play Smite, right? And Smite has 5 classes: support, mage, hunter, assassin, and warrior. And of all playstyles, I main mages because I play mid lane. I use hunters occasionally if they're ability based. But the reason why I like NuWa is not because she's a mage in Smite, it's because her playstyle is like a mage in Smite. You're casting spells. You're using abilities to do damage. Now, for me, that's what I love. Like, I love using spells to kill. I don't like trading. I'm not like a person that would like to trade to kill unless I have to. I like to use a spell to kill you and proc in an effect of a creature or god. Now you're thinking, why do I like that? Because the irony is that when I played Magic, I was the opposite playstyle. I was like a beast war. You're using the effects of beasts to proc each other to get them stronger and do damage. That's what my deck was in Magic. But when I was playing this game, I used to play all Pantheons before I started mainly NuWa. I played mainly Zeus, NuWa, Odin. Not Odin, Ra, and Bologna. Those are the 4 I mainly played. I don't rate Outpatch, and anyone can hate on me because I don't rate that deck. I don't rate that Pantheon. Don't rate mine. But those were the 4 I played. Then I realized Zeus is good, but then I realized Zeus' weakness because his strength is also his weakness. Gods. Ra, I realized if they're smart, they just don't attack, which is the problem with Ra. If you don't attack Ra, Ra can kind of be shut down because it loses all control. If you can just play to make him kill, he's kind of irrelevant. And then I liked Bologna, but because Bologna was like the top leader right now, I just didn't want to. I just it was really between her and NuWa. Those were the 2 I started to get into a lot. Those were the 2 I liked. Okay, these are going to be my 2 mains. But then I kind of liked NuWa. The more I got cards, the more I liked NuWa. That was the thing. And then when Erlong Shen came out, that definitely was the nail in the coffin to hit me on this spell NuWa.
So you had mentioned that with Zeus, his weakness and his strength is in the gods. What are some things that some new players can really use to capitalize on that if they're having problems playing against Zeus's?
Zeus's strength is board presence, kind of like a beast deck, beast anything really, like beast war, let's say. If you can stop Zeus bringing gods out on the board and make him bait out kill, or make him keep removing all the time, you've basically won, in my opinion.
So it's really hard to come back, basically.
Yeah, like Zeus can come back, obviously, if you're smart, but Zeus struggles if he can't get ball control. That's the weak point of him. That's the weak point of Zeus anyway. If you have four creatures on the board and he's bringing out a Hades out and you have like a lot of removal in your hand, yeah, you can kill him. Like, it's not that hard. That's the thing. That's the thing with Zeus. Because think of it this way: he has to bring out Athenas and then Ares and all that just to be able to deal with your bigger creatures or amount of creatures you're bringing out.
Very interesting. So, would you say you have a definite top 3 on the new patch's rankings, and who do you feel
easily.
that Mayan is the bottom still?
Yeah, but mine is still bottom just because one. Look, I feel like one. There's two reasons. One, our patch doesn't have enough good cards, and I feel like these decks are not. I feel like what he's based around, his idea of sacrifice, is good, but they need to make it more potent or stronger because it's quite easy to counter. For example, Zeus, Divine Vengeance, all zombies are dead. So,
That's true.
basically any board wipe basically can deal with our patch. Then the other reason is that, as I was saying before, all the other pantheons have too many strong cards. Like all the other pantheons have a card that can really deal with our patch. That's why I've had to rate. And to answer your other question, ratings. Number 1 is Bologna. Number 2, Ganesh. Number 3, NuWa. And I'll probably say number 4 is between Odin and Ra.
Interesting.
I would usually say Ra straight off the bat, but with Odin, Odin can counter Ganesh because he's one of the best. He's probably the best leader to deal with Ganesh, because Ganesh, one, he outvalues Ganesh in the cards he brings out, and two, he can easily deal. He can give so much pressure that Ganesh can't play the way he wants.
No, I agree with you. Would you have a favorite card? And why don't you give 2? One that would be a neutral, and one that would be for a non-neutral card.
Okay, non-neutral, Guan Yu. I love that card. Guan Yu or Dragon King. Those 2 cards are just heaven. Dragon King's like a base, like a temporary, like a good clear. A good clear. Like without Kwong, it's 8 damage. Without Ao Kwong, it's 6 damage still. So
It's a broken
amazing
card.
Yeah. Basically, Guan Yu's a board wipe, basically. Like, you're only playing Guan Yu when you can board wipe, or if you need to board wipe. So, yeah, that's for non-neutral. And then for neutral Pantheon, I would say... So I need to search that one up, because I have a few cards in my head, but... I would say best non-neutral would be Fire Giant or surprisingly enough, yeah, I'd say Bat or Imperial Guard.
Yeah, actually, Fire Giant is up there with me too. I don't know if you played really way back when. Do you remember when Fire Giant had Cleave?
Oh, don't bother. I didn't play it. I watched it when it had Cleave. That was a nightmare to deal with. Never. That was disgusting. Fire Giant was literally too strong.
I kind of agree.
I'm never letting that happen.
You kind of mentioned earlier you're really happy with Erlang Sheng being added to the game. Overall, are you happy with the changes of the last patch in regards to how it changed the Chinese Pantheon, and also how it changed the metagame as a whole?
I think Chinese was good, in a good spot. I didn't think it was like completely too strong, but I don't think it was weak either. I just felt like Erlang Shen pushed it to that stage of like top 3, because like 3-headed spears are kind of strong. Like, what you got to think of it is that when you're playing spell NuWa, you're using spells, right, which is obviously the big factor of saying spell NuWa. But you're trying to use everything else at your disposal to make the spell stronger. So, Guan Yu. So Guan Yu on the board, that's 3 damage for 1 mana. What's that card called? Ao Kuang on the board, that's 3 damage for 1 mana. And remember, also when you have gladiators in your deck, which you should always do, spell NuWa, you're getting 3 spells, 3 crescent blades all the time, and you still have projection as well. So,
how do you feel about mana burst?
So I thought this question was going to come up. So I was testing out Mana Burst. It's that card to me. It's just the thing. One thing I like about Mana Burst, and this is even before I'm talking about the card, is what it's done to the pantheon of Chinese. Now, when you play against Chinese, kind of how you have to deal with Discordia, you have to think of the mentality that you have to use up all your mana. If you leave like 4 free mana open, and you know you have something on the board with 4 damage, you have to expect that it's able to trade.
The thing that I was seeing with it was, if you really have the ability to run your opponent out of cards, you drop a Chang'e and you Inferno plus Mana Burst after you run them out of cards and just...
Wait, Chang'e? Oh, you mean Chunga, I'll say.
The 4-drop that reduces spell costs?
Yeah, it's cool. It's just because you said Chang'e, it's called Chunga.
Gotcha.
For the...
I'm not up to date with some of this stuff. Again, this is why we need to have you on the stream.
I know pronunciation of gods. Like, I'm a type of person that likes to know how to pronounce gods' names.
Wow, that's awesome. So, do you feel that any cards were particularly affected negatively with this change? Cards that you might have used last patch that you probably won't be using in future decks because of the new releases?
I feel like card draw will suffer, like with against Bologna, because if you have a lot of card draw and then you play Discordia, then for example Ganesha, who's like really likes to have his control in his hand, and then you just switch the hand, then Bologna kind of controls the match, don't she? So that's the thing. True. That's like cards like that. I feel like card draw is going to be good, but that's one factor you always have, because now most people are always going to run Discordia in the deck, like probably one Discordia, just because of Discordia's situation.
I agree. I think it's used long term in the game, where you use it as a control mechanism rather than some jank is going to be very powerful.
Exactly. And Bologna really has a lot of control in terms of board presence, because that's how she controls. Like Ganesha controls by controlling you and what you do, but Bologna controls it by controlling the board and what can attack and what comes up close to her and moving units around. So that she's got another way to control on top of Venus is very strong. Because I know people say Janus, but Janus is not the you want, because Janus controls differently. Janus's control is not the control that Bologna wants. And it slows Bologna down. That's the problem with Janus.
No, completely. Then we talked a little bit earlier about Inferno in Arena, but I don't know if you checked out the list from a Comcast employee from the HRX tournament. I really like the deck he put out there. Do you want me to send you a link of that, or can you pull that up? I'd really like to talk about how you feel about that deck.
Wait, what is... Okay, just send me the link and I'll look at it.
His name is a Comcast employee.
Okay. Was it on Hot G or something?
Hot G Top Decks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic deck list. It has double Inferno in it.
Oh, okay. Let me just Chinese. So I feel like... I personally don't rate double Inferno. The top spell NuWas don't even play Inferno. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay.
It just looks so much different than some of the other decks that were brought to that tournament. Yeah, the typical one.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I can see what you mean. So I'm looking at it now. So 2 Calamity, I like. 2 Cipher Mind, I like, because that's card draw. So no harm in card draw. Beckoning Strike, standard. Harbor, standard. Hui, standard. Chang'e, like, obviously in a typical spell NuWa, you don't really play Chang'e, but people are thinking, what the hell? Why don't you play Chang'e? Because obviously Chang'e's it's a card that literally does exactly what you want to do in a spell NuWa. And the way you have to think of it is, would you rather reduce the cost of your abilities for 1, or play a Gladiator and always get a free spell? That's the way you have to think of it.
That's a good point.
Because they're both 4 cost. And another way you have to think about, and there's Erlong Shen as well. That's another 4 cost. So, and Erlong Shen does exactly what Gladiator wants to do. Because you're going to Gladiator, keep stacking Crescent Blades, and then Erlong Shen. And plus, even if you don't have Erlong Shen in your hand, or even in your deck, you stack Crescent Blades, go on you, so.
That's true. That is true. Well, it looks like we got a lot of our normal people in the chat here. Just wanted to say hi to Distorted Elk, Tickle My Pixel.
Elk!
Yeah.
Elk's my man. Elk's the man. I know.
All of these guys are definitely regulars. And, alright, sorry. So back to what we're talking about with this deck. Do you think that type of play where he is really going all in, where he doesn't have to do more than just, hit, I'd say, them down to 18 to 16, and at that point, autopilot, go on defense, and nuke him out, is a viable strategy? Oh, I missed the attack on this guy.
But if you get Ra, if you're in a Ra matchup, that's why I feel like that deck will start to struggle. Because Ra can stall out a game longer than NuWa. That's the way I didn't rate the deck. Like, I know he has like, a lot of lethal Dragon King and double Inferno. Obviously, Dragon King is really going to be useful removal since you have double Inferno. But that's where my problem is with the deck. It can be dealt with in the sense that well, one, that even if you play defensive and they can get into your backline and get too much aggressive on you, Inferno becomes a pointless card. That's my problem.
Understandable.
Right. That's the only card I don't rate in his deck. All these other cards is just a mix of what his version of spell NuWa are unique. But I don't. 1 Inferno, fine. I don't mind 1 Inferno. It's fine as a lethal. 2 Infernos, I feel like it's just too much.
It's interesting.
I feel like you could put something more valuable.
Yeah, a lot of the casters were saying in the chat for HRX the opposite of that, but I kind of agree with you, which is that's the last top deck I'm looking for, and I still want to have a decent curve. Whereas that would be my finisher on top of a Beastwa deck, not necessarily going all in with 10.
Exactly. And another thing you have to remember as well is this spell war. Not God War, not Beast War. We're talking about spells. Now, in terms of how he can collect spells, he only has 1 Wind Elemental, 2 Calamities, 2 Cypher Mines, a Beckoning Strike, and Dragon King, and then 2 Infernos. But most of these spells are not damage. They're all stuns, the hard draw. They're not damage as in like Crescent Blades. Because the reason why spell war is strong is because spells stack in damage. So
that's true. That's true.
If you Alquang Crescent Blades, it's 2 damage. If you Alquang, if you Rushing Thunder, Alquang, it's 2 damage. If you Guan Yu Rushing Thunder, it's 2 damage. Like the whole point of spell war, to me, in my opinion, is to be able to stack spell damage without having to use your creatures or gods. Which ones?
Well, while you're already on the website, I'd really like for you to build a BlackManChima's ideal Spellwa deck if you'd like to share with everyone. Just build it on the spot and talk to us as you're building it. Tell us why you're making some of the deck choices you are. I think you'd definitely be able to educate a lot of new Chinese players out there.
Do I even have an account? I'll probably just create an account. But yeah, if I can, I have a newer deck. I have, this is the deck that actually got me to rank 1. From rank 30 to rank legend, which is above rank 1, I have never used any other deck except spell NuWa. And people think, what? And I'm like, yes, you can win with one deck. Because and the good thing, obviously it has some downfalls, obviously, because you don't use other decks, but the benefit of it is that you know every matchup. You know every matchup, what you can do in situation, because that's the reason why I'm so good with spell NuWa, because I know every matchup, and I expect what can come out in every turn, what I can do to counter that. I have to admit, there's some matchups which are not in my favor, like Ganesha. If I'm playing defensive against a Ganesha, I'm probably going to lose, because Ganesha's a hard leader to deal with. Like, if you're going to play against Ganesha, you got to be a bit more aggressive, so that you can get a lethal with Dragon King, probably.
I think part of that was partially due to a lot of the bugs that were surrounding Ganesha, and unfortunately, how all of those bugs were positive. They were all buffs and really were things that were resilient to silence, including the Pillar of Creation. Yeah. And I think that is an unreasonable ask for a Chinese deck to deal with, is dealing with bugged pillars.
I just feel like I agree with that. I feel like the idea was kind of stupid in its sense, just because structures count as allies, hence why Saket can target with poison. Hence why it can be attacked for 1. It counts as a unit on the board. So I don't get why a unit on the board can't be silenced. I don't get why a structure doesn't count as a unit. It does count as a unit. That's the whole point of it being on your board. It can be Russian Thundered. It can still be damaged by everything else. It can still be Crescent Blade. And Crescent Blade says deal 1 damage to a unit. Still counts as a unit. So it should be, and Chaos Spawn says silence a unit. Silence, the spell silence, which says silence a summoning stone or a unit. It counts as a unit, so it should be affected by everything that says unit in the description.
And what exactly is it not being affected by, you're saying?
It didn't get affected by silences, as you said, the pillars.
Oh, yeah.
A pillar is a unit.
That's true, because of the bug.
Exactly, but a pillar is a unit, so I don't get why that bug was in the first place.
I honestly, this comes from working in the industry for so long. It's really easy to put, an enumerated value in a code table is literally just 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And 1 might be giving it the value of a unit, and 2 might be giving it the value of a spell. It could have literally been someone putting the wrong value in something. It's really easy to do.
Okay. I just feel like something like that shouldn't have had a mistake done in the first place.
Yeah,
totally. I understand it happens. Mistakes happens. We're all human. I'm not going to be angry about it, but I just feel like I feel like a mistake like that shouldn't have been done just because it's a unit. So I feel like the value should have really been justified anyway. I don't get how a unit can be. I don't get how a pillar can be affected by poison but not affected by silence.
That's fair. I think these were all fixed with this patch, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank God. Oh, I got your beckoning strike just in time. So, with your deck and how you're going to be building it, is there certain things that you're going to be building around? What's the core of what you're going to be trying to build around?
So, my core cards will be around, Gladiator, Elongshen, Ao Kuang, and Guan Yi, I'll probably say, are my core cards. Yeah, I'll probably say those are my core cards. And probably Imperial Guard, because obviously should not pop spells with him. Spell, and you die.
And just to communicate this with our viewers here, I obviously agree with you. We've talked about this before, but I'd really like to let the viewers hear your side of the argument of Imperial Archer versus Imperial Guard.
Oh God, I've had this argument so much. I just hate people that don't understand. You can prefer one. I don't mind it, because to me, I've always been that person that if you understand something's better than another thing, but you prefer the thing that's, but let's say gold over bronze. Let's say gold's more expensive than bronze and has more value. If you understand gold has more value than bronze, but you prefer bronze, fine. You understand that one has more value. But if you don't, but what I hate is when people prefer one thing over another and then still think it's better, not understanding why the other card is better. So to end all discussions, the reason why Archer is worse than Guard, and to rephrase it, while Guard is actually 10 times better than Imperial Archer, is because the way you have to think of it is, you do 1 damage as a spell. Let's say Crescent Blade, because that's the most standard spell you're probably going to use. Crescent Blade something. Archer has RNG factor. It's not always going to hit what you want it to hit, for one. Secondly, Archer has to be played on the back line. And once it's played on the back line, you can't really do anything with it. So you can stay there and spam 1 hit, 1 damage every time. Thirdly, when you do 1 damage with an Archer, when you do 1 damage with a spell, the Archer will do damage, as I said, 1 damage to something random. On the other hand, what does Imperial Guard do when it does one? When it gets hit with a spell, gets 1+1, and it gets immune to damage. Now, which one has more value? Something that can kill almost anything that's big without dying, or something that does 1 damage with RNG? That's what I need to say. And then the last thing I need to say is that when Imperial Archer is silenced, it's a 1/3 ranged. Kind of pointless. When Imperial Guard is silenced, it's a 2/4 chump block and still can kill. That's what I need to say.
All right. Chima, I'm going to be opening up the collection here.